Ready to find out which Disney World ride could potentially ruin your dinner plans, how you can prevent spending way too much money in a single Disney day, and how hometown politics could be all it takes to destroy your dream vacation? Find out which things I'm so not doing on my next Disney World trip here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. It's exciting to jump on a plane or in your car and finally cross under the Disney World arches towards your next big vacation. But that excitement can fizzle if you make a wrong move during your trip. Because those wrong moves can lead to missed reservations, overspending, making the wrong reservations, and just killing the happy-go-lucky vibe that you and your family originally started this trip out with. So today we're going to attack those must-not-dos head-on. That way, you don't have to stay awake at night stressing over what could possibly go wrong, and instead, use that energy to dream about all the ways your trip will totally go according to plan. And after we're done with today's must-not-dos, make sure to drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/Disney checklists, and we can provide you with the must-dos next. We like to keep things balanced after all. We're going to send you a printable list of all the different things you most certainly want to do in each of the parks during your next visit, including rides and food, shopping, and some secret DFB tips you don't want to miss. All right, so what's the first thing I'm not doing on my next Disney trip? Getting on Kilimanjaro Safaris right before a dining reservation. Now, this can apply to many different rides and attractions, but this one is the most uncontrollable. So, Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom is one of the most, if not the most, unique rides on Disney property, and that's because it features over 30 species of real live animals in a full-on safari tour across 110 acres of wildlife plains. The queue for Kilimanjaro can be unpredictable. Sometimes we see it at a whopping 50 plus minutes, and sometimes we see it at a more reasonable 20 to 30. But if you see Kilimanjaro Safaris listed at a wait time that's lower than usual, don't jump in line for it just yet, especially if you're just trying to find a ride to kill some time before your advanced dining reservation window approaches. Kilimanjaro Safaris is a time commitment, my friends. Even if you only wait 20 to 30 minutes in line for it, the ride itself is 18 minutes long. And that's if everything goes according to plan. Because this ride uses real animals, some of which have a whole lot of range of freedom, and those animals can be kind of a problem at times. I can't tell you how many times my ride has been delayed by an extra 10 or 15 minutes just because an ostrich decided to have a stare down with our safari vehicle. That's right, those animals can go right on the road if they want to, and nothing can be done until they're ready to move on. So that can really hold up the process and could double or even triple this ride's regular time frame. By the time you wait for this ride, experience it, and possibly have to sit tight for those animal delays, the whole trip could actually take you 50 plus minutes total. Not always, but it's definitely not unheard of. Make sure that before you jump in line for this one, you've got plenty of time to spare, just in case the animals get a little rambunctious. And don't plan on getting in line for this one thinking it'll be a fast experience before you head over to your dining reservation, because at that point it definitely won't be. Now, though the other rides in Disney World don't feature live animals like Kilimanjaro Safaris does, there are other rides you'll definitely want to avoid getting on before an important reservation because they're lengthy to experience. At least make sure you know how long of a commitment they are. These include Carousel of Progress in Magic Kingdom, that's 21 minutes. The Liberty Square Riverboat in Magic Kingdom is 13 minutes. Spaceship Earth in Epcot is 15 minutes. Rise of the Resistance in Disney's Hollywood Studios, that's 18 minutes, including the multiple pre-shows and the ride itself. Flight of Passage is 13-ish minutes, again, including the pre-shows, but don't forget, those can go on a little bit longer if things aren't ready in the ride yet. Living with the Land in Epcot is 14 minutes. Now, any ride can become a massive time commitment if it breaks down, but if you find yourself in that kind of a situation and it makes you late for a dinner date, don't stress. After your ride delay, head to the restaurant and let them know what happened. This kind of thing happens regularly at Disney World, and cast members are aware and ready to help you. You may have to wait a little bit longer for an open table, but you should be taken care of no problem since the reason you're late was outside of your control. Sometimes, if a ride experiences a seriously long delay, there may be a cast member at the exit of the ride ready to take care of any missed reservations or lightning lane windows due to the ride malfunction. If you've got a dining reservation coming up soon and you're not sure if you've got time to hop in line, err on the side of caution and head to that dining reservation first, even if that means missing the return time on a virtual queue. If you're in that boat, say you've got a reservation in 10 minutes for lunch at Crystal Palace, but you just got called to return to Tron, go to the restaurant because that virtual queue line could end up being 45 minutes to an hour once you hop in line. Disney wants you to spend money on food, so enjoy that meal and then head over to Tron and let them know you had a dining reservation during your virtual queue callback window. You can even show them a screenshot to bolster your argument, and you should be able to enter the queue. Now, anything can happen, but you should be able to. Next thing I'm not going to do on my next Disney trip that I do on all my Disney trips, so I don't know if you should trust me, is overpack. So the best packing advice I've ever received was this: lay out everything you can't live without and then take half of it. And I've lived by that motto to this very day when I'm traveling overseas, but when I go to Disney World, I just can't seem to get that through my head. Now remember, you're not packing to prepare for deep space travel, though Mission Space might tell you otherwise. You're just taking a little break from your everyday life to go have some fun, which may only be 2 weeks, a week, or maybe even a few days. I know, we all wish it was 2 weeks, right? Try packing things that can pull off double duty. A sundress can double as a pool cover-up, a nice-looking skirt can double as parkwear and signature dining attire, and a jacket can double as your long sleeves for multiple chilly park days without you needing to pack several long-sleeve sweaters that take up way too much space in your luggage. You get the idea. Even if you find yourself short on something, like you need another shirt or a new pair of water sandals and it's an emergency, you can usually find some pretty cheap last-minute solutions at a nearby big box store or drugstore just outside of the Disney bubble. Or you can order them via Amazon or Instacart or Shipt or whatever. I, as you know, forgot to pack shirts for my son when we were going to Disney World and on a Disney cruise, so he literally just had shorts. And I very quickly remedied that situation by buying a bunch of cheap shirts at Walmart for him to wear when we were on the cruise. I think I literally got him like a pack of undershirts or something, just like a bunch of white t-shirts. So that's what he wore on the cruise the whole time. It's okay, he's fine. And remember that Disney resorts do have self-serve laundry facilities, which you can use for a small extra fee. So if need be, you can always take some time out of your break day to stick a few clothes in the washers and dryers and rewear an outfit. And the best part about these laundry services, you don't have to stay in the laundry room to wait for your clothes to finish up. All resort laundry rooms can send you a text message when your laundry cycle is complete. And they're often by the pool, so you and the fam can lounge poolside while the laundry is running. Okay, this next one's a little complicated, but stick with me because I got my reasons. Booking a standard value room at 2 specific value resorts. That's something I'm not going to do on my next Disney trip. Hello and welcome to today's segment of throwing value resorts under the bus. Okay, not all value resorts, just Art of Animation and All-Star Sports, and there are reasons. Okay, value resorts are known as the more affordable Disney-owned hotels you can choose to stay at on property. For the most part, values offer standard rooms, meaning you'll more than likely have 2 queen beds and 1 bathroom, nothing too out there. But here's the thing, standard value rooms are still very expensive. So why am I throwing Art of Animation and All-Star Sports to the wolves? Because they're not just pricey, they can be outdated. To be fair, All-Star Sports standard rooms really are the cheapest room option you're going to find in Disney World. However, these cheap rooms still tend to be around $130 per night, and they're going to be small, with only the Disney buses as your source of complimentary transportation around property. Depending on the time of year, especially around August and September, you can pay around that same price for a pretty posh suite at a Good Neighbor resort in the Disney Springs area, which will give you a separate bedroom area and sophisticated theming, plus 3 on-site restaurants, 3 heated pools, lazy river, free shuttle service to the Disney parks, and exclusive tea times at the Disney golf courses. And those All-Star Sports rooms, they haven't gotten the updates that other All-Star resorts have gotten. No Murphy beds to create extra floor space during the day, at least not across the resort. There's one section that has gotten those fresh room updates, and that's the touchdown section, which is also considered a preferred room. So you can book that room specifically, though it will cost a bit more. Now, the standard rooms at Art of Animation, because I know you're mad at me for throwing Art of Animation under the bus, but let me explain. These tend to be the priciest of the value standard room options, usually priced at around $200 plus per night, with the ability to get as high as $330 during peak seasons like spring break and holiday weekends. And the reason for this price hike on the standard rooms at Art of Animation, not talking about the family suites here, is because the rooms are themed to the Little Mermaid, which is cute, but like maybe not cute enough to pay $200 per night for an otherwise basic room setup you might find at any other chain hotel. Now, these did get a little renovation 3 years ago, so there's no more carpet, which could be a plus or minus because you know I love my hotel carpet, and the beds have also been upgraded to queens instead of a double full size. Art of Animation also has the Disney Skyliner nearby, which makes traveling to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and other Skyliner resorts way more convenient, which is another reason why those standard rooms are more expensive. But then again, Pop Century has the same Skyliner station. And not only have their standard rooms been recently renovated so that one of the beds can fold up into the wall if you need some extra room, but they're still cheaper to stay at than Art of Animation's standard rooms, usually averaging around $150 per night. But again, if you're looking for more hotel space, you'll just need to travel back to the Good Neighbor hotels. Because the suites over at Doubletree Suites by Hilton Orlando, for example, they're $109 per night, which is even cheaper than the cheapest all-star sports option Disney can offer. And staying here will still give you Disney Resort guest benefits like early theme park entry and free shuttle service to the park. So listen, we got a whole video out on the channel right now that really dives into the pros and cons of Disney's value resorts. But the big takeaway I want you to learn right now is this. Just because Disney World labels something as a value doesn't automatically mean it's going to be the best deal out there for you. So make sure to do your research and check out all the other Good Neighbor hotel options, which partner with Disney on the Good Neighbor Hotel website too. You can also reach out to our Disney travel agent friends at Small World Vacations if you need a helping hand. Not only do they know about all the different surrounding hotels in and around the Disney bubble to help you make a good judgment call, but they're also totally free. We'll link their site down in the description below for you, just in case you're interested in getting a free quote and advice. All right, next up, say it with me. Friends don't let friends eat at mediocre Disney restaurants. Right, looking at you, Sunset Ranch Market. Now, before you head off toward your big Disney vacation with your buddies, you need to have a food game plan figured out. That way you know exactly what you want to try. You've narrowed down your priority restaurants with advanced dining reservations all locked in for those table service spots, and you know exactly where each of these restaurants is located. Sorry, I get passionate when I talk about this because this is why we do what we do. Y'all are gonna spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a trip to Disney World, and I do not want you to eat bad food. There's no reason to eat bad food. And those of you who are subscribers here know that we write the 2023 DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining ebook. It's a digital guide, got tons of pages of tips and tricks, and basically every single thing I know about food in Disney World. We update it twice a year. It takes about 2 to 3 full months to update this thing because it is huge, but you will have all the information you could possibly need once you grab it. So this is going to help you budget. It's going to help you know which restaurants have the right kind of mac and cheese for your picky kid and which will serve the types of food your group is craving. It's going to help you figure out how to plan. It's got worksheets for your confirmation numbers and all your details. So it's going to help you out. You can download your guide today over at dfbstore.com. Make sure you type in code YouTube before you check out to save on your purchase. And don't forget, this is a 100% money back guarantee situation. If it's not for you, if you don't like it, if you're like, AJ, you are absolutely bonkers that you wrote a book about all this stuff and there's too much in here. I get it. That's fine. It's not for everyone. So if it's not for you, just let us know. We get your money back. No problem. But wanted to make it available for you, wanted to offer it to you because it's literally everything we know. Everything in one guide. Okay, the next thing I'm not going to do on my next Disney trip, and I know this is something that a lot of us struggle with, is thinking I need to impress people back home. Now, you may not take this point seriously, but you might think about it. The need to impress others back home with how awesome your Disney World vacation is can be a really big issue that becomes more stressful than it's worth. I know that you want to make sure your kid has something cool to brag about when they're back at school, so do I, and you want to be able to tell people in the neighborhood that you didn't miss out on something they think is important, like building that authentic lightsaber at Savi's workshop, or staying in one of the newly renovated rooms at the Grand Floridian. But here's the thing, this isn't your neighbor's trip. This isn't your kid's peer's trip. This is your trip, so do what works for you. If you decide you want to watch a movie at AMC during the rainy day at Disney Springs, just do it. If you want to skip the extra lightsaber experience and get your kids some cheapy lightsabers at the dollar store back home because they won't know the difference, do that. If you want to stay at a Holiday Inn because it's going to save your family thousands to stay at per night, do it. If you want to buy 5 days worth of tickets for Epcot and Epcot only, absolutely do that. I could keep going, but you get it. In a nutshell, this is your trip. Don't worry about what you're going to post on Facebook or Instagram when you're done with it. Don't worry about what the PTA secretary is going to say or that lady that sits next to you at soccer on Saturday. Who cares about those people, y'all? This is your vacation and your money. Life's too short to care about those people, so do what your family wants to do instead of what someone else thinks you should do. Even if that means just riding around on the Disney Skyliner back and forth for hours on end. That's what I used to have to do when my kid was like 5. All he cared about was riding the buses. We would go to Disney World and ride the buses for like a week. Not a good use of money, not a good use of time, but man, he was so happy, and that's all that really mattered. Okay, next thing I'm not doing on my next Disney trip, because I did it on the last one and it wasn't smart, is ignoring my AccuWeather app. It does not matter how many times you really hope it's not going to rain, because it's going to rain during your Disney World trip at some point, because that's Florida. That's why having those weather apps can be super important to have on hand. Now, AccuWeather is one of my favorites. It's getting better and better at predicting exactly when rainfall is going to happen. It's like a minute-by-minute situation and how long it'll happen for. Now, I know the weather can still change on a dime regardless of what an app says, but instead of challenging AccuWeather, assume that it knows more than you do and plan ahead. When you're narrowing down what you need to pack for your trip, consider items like ponchos, umbrellas, quick dry clothing. And if the AccuWeather app is telling you a storm's brewing and threatening to hit the park soon, do not get in line for an outdoor ride. Also, don't be a dum-dum like me and think, oh, no, it's gonna rain here and not over in Epcot, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on this monorail and go over to Epcot and then proceed to be stuck in the Epcot monorail station for about 30 minutes because it's literally dangerous, sideways pelting rain and lightning for like 30 straight minutes. Yeah, don't be me. Don't do what I did. When the weather gets stormy or if there's lightning within a 30-mile radius of the attractions, those outdoor rides will shut down and wait for the storm to pass before starting back up again. And if it is lightning, that Skyliner is going to stop too. So don't wait in line for like Test Track if you know that within the hour a monsoon is going to blanket the park, because you could end up waiting all that time in line just for the ride to shut down right before you board. Not worth it, man. Go get a margarita. Now here's a controversial one you might not agree with, but let me at least build my case. Going to the most popular rides first. So let's use Magic Kingdom as an example. When you use your early theme park entry, which is going to allow you to get into the parks 30 minutes before everyone else, if you're staying at a Disney-owned resort or one of those good neighbors that give you that perk, then lots of guests are going to use that benefit to make a beeline over to the rides that normally rack up the most intense lines of the day, like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Fantasyland or Space Mountain in Tomorrowland. And this strategy makes sense. Even if the lines are still a little lengthy during the early theme park entry, they're not going to be as lengthy as they will be by the peak of the afternoon. But by choosing this route, you'll only be accomplishing one ride in that extra 30-minute time frame. More than likely, after you've gotten off that ride, Magic Kingdom will officially be open and all the other lines for all the other rides are going to be building and building. If you're more about getting on more rides within that 30-minute span, you might be better off going to well-loved rides that aren't nearly as popular instead. Honestly, there have been mornings when I've knocked out both Jungle Cruise and Pirates of the Caribbean by the time the park opens, just by turning toward the Adventureland area instead of Tomorrowland. Or I've been able to hit up Peter Pan's Flight, then make my way over to Haunted Mansion right after. Jungle Cruise and Peter Pan's Flight are also rides that will get majorly long wait times later in the day, but are often overlooked first thing in the morning. Now again, this strategy is not for everyone, and it's especially not for those who want to prioritize rides like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Space Mountain, because that early theme park entry will help you cut down on those waits. But if you're more about getting as much done in a day as possible, choosing the road less traveled during that extra half hour of time could make all the difference. Please do argue in the comments, because I know that a lot of you have had different experiences in that particular circumstance. And again, there's so many factors. Anything can happen. So let us know what happened to you and how you spent your extra 30 minutes in the park. Next thing that's not worth doing on your next Disney trip is not exploring your hotel and really getting a use out of it. When you stay at a Disney World hotel, you're not just supposed to sleep and shower there, though please make sure you keep doing those things. Your resort can become part of the entire Disney vacation experience if you let it, and if you have time to, you should. Here are just a few of the unique activities you can try out across the different hotels. Note, unless otherwise stated, these activities do cost extra to experience and may require reservations. There's archery classes at Fort Wilderness, fireworks cruises that depart from resort marinas like Disney's Contemporary, Polynesian Village, Grand Floridian, Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge, and Disney's Yacht and Beach Club. Fishing excursions are available at Fort Wilderness, Caribbean Beach, Contemporary, Grand Floridian, Old Key West, Polynesian Village, Wilderness Lodge, and Yacht Club resorts. And there's also a fish and hole experience over at Port Orleans Riverside. And photo booths are there inside the resort arcades. There's a full-on enchanted, immersive tiki bar area, Trader Sam's Grog Grotto at Polynesian Village. There's a restaurant with stick horse races at Whispering Canyon Cafe at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Starlight Safari is at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, swimming at Stormalong Bay, which is basically a mini water park included with your stay at the Yacht and Beach Club, and free nightly movies under the stars and bonfires with marshmallow roasting at just about every Disney resort. Okay, I'll shut up, but I could have kept going for the remainder of the video and then some because there's just so much to do at these places. Before you book a room at a resort, any resort, check out the hotel's amenities and recreational offerings listed on the Disney World website, because you never know what you might come across that you'll want to add to your vacation itinerary. Then, when you arrive, be sure to look out for activity boards posted around the hotel so you know which movies are playing which day and which other activities will be available during your stay. Okay, now it's time to talk about our shirts because they're really, really awesome. So something I'm not going to do on my next Disney trip is purchase a Disney shirt for bajillion dollars that I don't absolutely love. You might not have purchased a shirt that says I went to Disney World and all I got was this lousy t-shirt, but you might as well have if you're not totally stoked about that souvenir tee. Disney World shirts are pricey, and although many are super cute, they're not all going to fit your particular vibe or Disney niche, which is why you'll want to browse our dfbstore.com tee collection before your upcoming trip. Not only do we have shirts that cover several different Disney-inspired fan bases, both popular and underground, but we've also got several styles and sizes and colors for you to choose from too. A lot of you wanted tank tops, so we're launching tank tops, sweatshirts, v-necks, lots, so you can make sure whatever design you choose is going to be customized just to your liking. And if you do wear one of our fits around the Disney parks, make sure to tag on social media because we'd love to see you rocking that style during your best day ever. Thanks in advance for your support of the channel. Thanks for wearing our t-shirts around. We love to see you in the parks. Okay, next thing I'm not doing on my next Disney trip is taking Dinoland USA for granted. To be fair, I've never taken Dinoland USA for granted. I think it is an absolutely enchanting location. I know a lot of you disagree with me, but there's a possibility that Dinoland USA over in Disney's Animal Kingdom could go extinct. So let me give you the abbreviated version for why. During last year's D23 convention, Chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products, Josh D'Amaro, let Disney fans know about a few major ideas that the Imagineers are currently mulling over in office. These ideas, D'Amaro explained, are considered blue sky projects, meaning they're not a guarantee, but they do allow Imagineers to play around with big what-if concepts that could morph into potential expansion opportunities for the parks, quote-unquote. Along with talking about the possibility of new lands just beyond Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom that could be inspired by Coco and Encanto and the Disney villains, there was also talk about the Dinoland USA area and how Moana and Zootopia-inspired areas could possibly take over the real estate back there. Now, it's not entirely clear if Disney's thinking about expanding past Dinoland USA or just replacing it completely with these new lands, or maybe not even going through with either at all. But there are signs that point toward replacement. Little by little, we've seen Dinoland USA spots start to disappear. That steel coaster Primeval Whirl was taken down back in the summer of 2020, and just recently the Dino Diner was removed from the updated Animal Kingdom park maps. Not to mention, Disney filed a patent recently for a boat motion simulator in July 2021, with the official date of the patent being October 25th, 2022, which is described as a system configured specially to impart boat-type motions, like rolling, swaying, heaving, pitching, surging, and yaw, to a passenger boat. And when you look at the different image figures showing how the technology is meant to work, one figure specifically shows a dome screen for projected images featuring, get this, Moana and Maui on a separate boat. Now that doesn't mean for sure this tech is meant for Animal Kingdom. It doesn't even guarantee that the ride they're planning is going to be Moana themed, or if the image is simply an example of what could be projected inside the ride. But it is interesting that we learned about the potential of a Moana inspired land, and then Disney happens to have a patent with that specific character involved. And on top of that, a Zootopia-inspired land wouldn't exactly be the most difficult thing Disney's had to pull off, since they're already getting ready to finish up a Zootopia-inspired area in Shanghai Disneyland, and those animatronics look amazing. But let's get back to the purpose of my point here. Don't be taking Dinoland USA for granted, y'all. Though no news of it being replaced has come to light yet, that doesn't mean it couldn't be on the horizon. So the next time you're in Animal Kingdom, revel in the majestic realm that is Dinoland USA. Grab an ice cream sandwich at Dino Bites, play a round or two of Fossil Fun Carnival games, go get that dino with Dr. Seeker over at the dinosaur ride, and have the kids climb aboard the Boneyard and take some pictures with Chip, Dale, Donald, and Daisy as they pose in their very best dino-themed attire. Next thing I'm not going to do on my next Disney trip is attempt to grab a spot for the fireworks at the last second. Now that Happily Ever After is back in Magic Kingdom and nature is continuing to heal, staking out a spot to see this nighttime spectacular in all its fireworks, castle projection glory is going to be harder than ever for a little while, and it was already difficult enough before. If Happily Ever After is a big must-do for your Magic Kingdom day, then don't wait to find your viewing spot until the last second. You're gonna get trapped in that dreaded loop where cast members are trying to clear the pathways and make sure there's a direct path to the exit for those looking to leave before or during the show. And you don't want to get caught up in that wave of exiting guests just yet. If you want a close-up vantage point of Happily Ever After, you and your group need to plan to grab a spot in front of Cinderella Castle about 60 to 90 minutes prior to showtime. Now, 60 to 90 minutes is maybe a little extreme, but I would say for at least the first month of the show, you want to kind of look at that time frame. After the excitement kind of dies down, you should be able to find a spot with less die-hard dedication than that, especially after the crowds start to dwindle there in the end of the summer. And if you want to see the whole thing, the fireworks, castle show, brand new Main Street USA projections, find a spot right in the middle of Main Street USA, about 40 minutes prior to showtime, or even less if you want to be farther back, closer to the train station. Just bear in mind that this provides the furthest view of the on-castle projections. By the way, if you want to stand up there on the train station, which is a great vantage point, you're going to have to get there pretty early as well. But let's say you don't want to stress over finding a spot at all, and you're more than willing to pay those worries away, then you might want to book a reservation for one of the Magic Kingdom fireworks dessert parties. There are 3 different party types you can choose from: the pre-party, the post-party, and the sweets and seats party. The pre- and post-party will give you an assortment of desserts and refreshments either before or after Happily Ever After, depending on which you choose, and access to a reserved fireworks viewing area at the Plaza Garden. While Sweets and Seats is going to let you enjoy those goodies during the fireworks show as you sit and enjoy the view from the patio of Tomorrowland Terrace. The fireworks pre- and post-party cost $99 for adults and $59 for children, while Sweets and Seats is going to cost $114 for adults and $69 for children. What do these snacks and sweets look like? Well, there'll be chocolate-dipped strawberries and chocolate silk tarts and cheeses and beverages, including beer and wine for those 21 and over. Meaning if you do plan on attending a fireworks dessert party, don't eat a big supper beforehand. You'll still want to be in the mood for lots of desserts. And the next thing I'm not going to do during my next Disney trip, heaven help me, is push my family to their breaking point. There might come a time during your trip when you've got to admit defeat and wave the white flag. Sometimes the heat is too sweltering, the crowds are too intense, everybody's too exhausted, the thousands of steps you've already taken can be too painful. If someone in your family needs to call it quits early, even if just for an hour or two, taking some time to recharge is not a waste of time. Bria, who those of you who are subscribers know is our scriptwriter here, wants to tell a little story. She says a few summers back, she and her family were in Animal Kingdom, and by 2 p.m. they were sick of fighting against the 95-degree temps. Now, they had their water bottles, they had their sunscreen, they'd gotten enough sleep the night before, but even if they did everything right, and even though they were taking that DFB advice and slipping into gift shops and shows for that sweet AC, it still didn't completely wipe away how drained they were all feeling. So instead of slapping on a smile and pretending they were fine and dandy, they unashamedly drove their cranky little butts out of the Disney bubble and hit up the nearest Taco Bell for some AC, Baja Blast, and Mexican pizza. And you know what? That's still one of her strongest and most favorite Disney memories. So sometimes plans change, even if you don't want them to, but don't fight against it and don't force someone to keep having the best day ever if it's about to make them sick to their stomach. Instead, retreat. Let everyone get some air, some snacks, maybe a quick cat nap. Just recharge so you can get back into the parks and actually enjoy yourselves and each other instead of forcing the happy to happen. It doesn't work that way. Now, making a must-not-do list for your Disney World trip doesn't have to be stressful. It just needs to be at the back of your mind so you don't accidentally do something that'll set all your big plans aflame. Now, hopefully you'll have some more peace of mind about what you should avoid so you can spend more time figuring out the things you really want to prioritize and not stressing about it if they don't happen. Remember, we've got a must-do list already typed out and ready for you. Just drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/Disney checklists and we'll send it over to you right away. Sleep easy tonight, my friends. Keep checking back here with us for even more tips and tricks to come. You know that's why we're here. We're making all the mistakes so that you don't have to. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching, and thanks for suffering all my stories. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and I'll see you real soon.